Mr. Sartori. Senator, can you turn off your light there?
Sorry.
There you go.
Members of the County Council, my name is Jason Sartori, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the Whitman Cluster of schools, where 6 of our 7 schools are over capacity, and our middle school is the largest in the county and the most over capacity. We've been told that MCPS demographers have analyzed the Westbard Plan and concluded that the school system can accommodate the additional students it will generate. But where is the analysis from which this conclusion is drawn? It's not in the text of the 94-page sector plan adopted by the Planning Board. Instead, there are 2 generic paragraphs dedicated to schools. The approaches for addressing increased student enrollment identified on page 12 of the plan are not at all specific to Westbard and could easily be copied and pasted into any sector plan in the county. An appendix released last week provides additional information on the various school options, but does not offer the level of specificity required to assure area residents that MCPS can, in fact, accommodate the additional students that Westbard will generate. At the Infrastructure and Growth Forum Symposium last March, county residents sent a clear message. We need to better coordinate our land use and school planning efforts. This sector plan, however, demonstrates that the Planning Board simply taking MCPS at their word. Let's be clear. Communication based on blind faith between agencies does not constitute integrated planning. For reasons we've indicated in our written testimony, such blind faith in MCPS is ill-advised. For instance, over the last 14 years, our cluster's 6-year projections, the ones used for capacity planning purposes, have been off by an average of nearly 14%. That's more than 800 students across the cluster. For Westbard, the problem is that MCPS does not use cluster-specific student generation rates in estimating the impact, despite having detailed spatial data that allows for such calculations. MCPS's claim to be able to accommodate Westbard's enrollment impact is flawed because it ignores facts demonstrating the appeal of the Whitman cluster. This plan allows for 2,480 new residential units in Westbard. Using the Southwest average generation rates, the appendix indicates this plan could add 407 new students to local schools. However, multifamily housing on the Whitman side of Westbard currently generates 2 to 5 times more students than the rates used by MCPS. Using these localized generation rates, we believe the plan could add as many as 760 students to our local schools. The plan should demonstrate the same level of impact analysis for schools and mitigation for schools as it does for transportation, housing, and the environment. First, the plan must identify the impact realistically calculated using cluster-specific generation rates. Second, the plan must specifically address how that impact will be mitigated, explaining how these students will be accommodated. And third, if specific options for handling that impact cannot be identified in the plan, then you have a responsibility to modify the plan to lessen the impact by lowering the density allowed in the plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good job. Okay. We have a comment by the aforementioned Vice President, Councilmember Berliner.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the Council President had said early on, this is an evening to hear from you. So the fact that my colleagues and I have made no comments should not be taken as a sign of disrespect. It is, we really want to hear you. I am your district council member. I promise you, I am listening. I have received over 1,500 emails on this issue, and I promise you we are fully engaged. If you haven't seen a copy of my preliminary thoughts with respect to the plan, it is out there. The only reason for my speaking in this moment, notwithstanding the many things that I have heard that I agree with, was to respond actually to Mr. Sartori with respect to the school issue and the fact that our clusters typically produce more children than clusters on an average. And I just want you to know, in case you did not know, and I think you do, that I formally sent a letter to MCPS requesting in very strong terms that type of analysis, because the averages don't work in our neighborhoods, in part because the Whitman cluster and the other schools in our district are so desirable that people move here for these schools, as I did many, many years ago. And so we can't use averages. And so I totally agree and just wanted you to understand that I'm working hard to get to the bottom of that as well. So I thank my colleagues. I didn't mean to open the dam to further commentary, et cetera. I just felt I needed to respond to that.